Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I thought we'll go over a data mine from today from Zabi, basically going over some scouting changes that are coming into the game. I wonder if these are linked to what they talked about when it came to the community update and bringing in how scouting is going to change, especially with the Recon drones. You may have remembered when it comes to War Thunder, I personally had a bit of an issue with the scout drone. I think it's very overpowered. It's one of the most broken mechanics in the game, especially utilized correctly. And there have been people over the last few weeks who have been kind of showing it. Since Gaijin made that article, some people have had like up to nearly 100 scouts a game and basically just getting a ridiculous amounts of assists. Some people actually ended up getting nukes literally just by using the scout drone kind of switcheroo, where you use the scout drone, look in the air, and then go back to your tank, scout something, and then just keep doing that over and over again. It's kind of nuts how you can do that. But let's have a look at the data mine. Let's see what it says, and always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe, and also like the video. So the first part of it is with the F-106, just a little one. So the slot 6 drop tank was still visible, even when it wasn't equipped, so they fixed that. And then we get into the scouting side of things. So basically, what has happened is it seems like Gaijin has put in some kind of different thresholds in terms of how scouting works. So this is what Zabi wrote. He wrote, regular scouting is now limited to 100 meters. Non-thermal UAV scouting is now limited to 1.5 kilometers. Thermal UAV scouting is now limited to 3 kilometers. And then also in AB, the UAV scouting cooldown is going from 6 to 12 seconds. In RB, the UAV scouting cooldown is going from 6 to 18 seconds. And the UAV scouting score multiplier is going from 1 to 0.5. So once again, this is shown how this is a big problem when it comes to the game. It's basically just been absolutely insane in terms of what it's doing, and therefore they're nerfing it into the ground. Now, Esmin actually put a little comment on the Reddit post about this, and he says, "Hi guys, we see some concern here. Let us clarify that regular scouting, being limited to 100 meters, is not a correct data mine. This is a threshold for the server and not something that affects real gameplay. Scouting is not limited to 100 meters, it remains how it is currently." So basically, it's one of those things that shouldn't affect the gameplay right now. Maybe they're trying to build something in the future and they're bringing this in first. One of the things we talked about way back when the community thing came out, and also making some videos about it, is the fact that being able to basically negate your keen vision crew skills and by using the drone is completely asinine and ridiculous. And that's basically what you were able to do. And what ended up happening is Gaijin made that community post about it, and they talked about it in that one. And to be honest, it made me even more annoyed because they basically said that they don't have any issues with it. Now, my guess is when it comes to this whole regular scouting is now limited to 100 meters thing, which isn't actually coming in, maybe it's them trying to figure out how they're actually going to fix this in terms of making it so you can't just quick switch back to the vehicle on the ground. Because as I said, looking at the scouting changes that they made or are going to make in the future, it looks like they're bringing in the first steps of them here. There is no way that they leave in the way that scouting works right now, because it is just an insane system and just incredibly overpowered, especially since certain modifications are completely kind of tied to it, including stuff such as the airstrike modification. It basically just makes CAS really, really easy to get into if you have a light vehicle, and also there is just no way of stopping it either, because it's very hard to actually kill recon drones with the vast majority of vehicles that actually exist. So, and also you could just sit them on the side of the map, right? Which would be kind of crazy. So basically, remember in the community post, they said that you can now directly scout from the Scout UAV. But basically, if you do it in the air, the cooldown after a successful scout is 3 times as big, and the spawn point reduction for aircraft will be decreased by 2 times as well. So that is basically the score multiplier they're talking about, and the UAV scouting cooldown, which is going from 6 to 18 seconds. But the rewards in RP and SL and mission points have not changed. Also, with this change, players will still be able to scout from the scout UAV instead of needing to switch back to their tank after placing a mark in order to try and get a scout. However, this method will still be there for those who want to do it. So basically, you can either just sit in your drone and scout people and be basically a third of efficient compared to being able to switch back to your tank, which is what you do nowadays, or you can just do what you already do and basically break the game, which is what's kind of there before. Also, at the same time, the scout cooldown when you have a scout UAV in the air will be longer to balance it out, and the spawn point cost reduction of planes has decreased, and the rewards will stay the same. So this is once again the thing that they're doing in terms of these parts. So for me, when I read through this, I was like, oh, this just means they can't actually fix the exploit, because of the fact that there is no way you would go to all of these lengths to try and basically make it work in its own little system, especially leaving in the way that is the most broken, if you were able to just kind of fix it. Because then recon drones would still be useful, you'd still be able to use them in exactly the way that you use them now, apart from you wouldn't have the fact that they would be negating your crew skills, which is exactly what they do. Because basically they just remove some need for certain skills, such as keen vision and all of that. So my guess is this whole regular scouting is now limited to 100 meters, is them testing some kind of method, so they can end up in a situation where if you quick switch back to your tank, or you're in your scout UAV, it will take into account your actual crew skills instead of just not, and being able to scout all the way across the map. So that would be my guess. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm even wrong about the crew skills thing. But, I mean, this seems to be the way that it's been working for like 6 months now, once people started figuring it out. And, of course, you have a lot of people who are like, no, this is fine, everything's good. It's actually nice that I can see the whole enemy team, and they can't see any of my team. Yeah, we're always here for all of the good, and we're not here for any of the bad. That's basically how all of this stuff goes. There was also a few other things like new control text, so active scouting from UAV, new reward text, which is target scouted with UAV, and new log text, so with UAV, without UAV, and then use targeting optics to scout. The distance to the target exceeds the permissible limit, which is interesting. So that might be a new actual limitation for the scout drone, because the scout drone literally doesn't have any limitations now. And then also new modification text. When your reconnaissance UAV is in the air, SP decrease times slower. So that's kind of interesting too. So all of this might be really positive, and it looks like they might also be trying to fix what I class as an exploit, another class as skill. Because you know what's really skillful? Basically clicking 2 buttons. It's really easy. It's just like firing missiles. Firing missiles really, it takes a lot of skill, especially when they have IRCCM. All you have to do is just bang bang, and then I tell you what, such skill. Just like the recon drone stuff, it literally can be done by anybody, and that's why it is just nuts. There is no like ceiling of skill or anything like for that. It's just literally dot on a map, look at the dot, scout, and then just keep doing that over and over and over again. So for me, it's a positive change that they're bringing this in what seems to be before the major update, but also at the same time, I still hope that they continue to try and work on these things and get rid of how it works now, because it's just not fun. And the other thing is you just never know it's happening. And having one team just fully scouted completely breaks the game. And once again, to the people who say stuff like, oh, well, both sides can do it. That's true, but it's vehicle specific, it's modification specific, and also whenever we've had mechanics in War Thunder where it's like, oh, well, both sides can do it, relying on teammates in order to do this stuff is never going to work very well. You also don't want a situation where it gets so broken that everybody just sits at the back of the map in scouts and doesn't actually fight each other, and instead just scouts each other to oblivion. Let me know your thoughts, and as always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecovo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.